I think our men are struggling, and I think our men are in crisis. And I think we need to support men. We know that men are perpetrating violence in Australia in high numbers. We know that women are victims of the violence, but the highest numbers of victims of the violence are other men. But I don't think we can look at the statistics of violence without also looking at the statistics of suicide. And 6 men a day take their own lives in Australia. That's a mental health crisis. And I think the violence levels are also a mental health crisis. I'm not in any way coddling men, obviously, but I don't think that meeting violence or with harshness has ever worked. Many of these acts of domestic violence are performed by men who've not committed acts of domestic violence before. So if we're talking about preventing future acts of violence, this is what I'm saying. We need to look at the red flags. There are many cases of men who murder their partners or former partners who've never physically assaulted them before. This is why we've started looking so seriously at coercive control. So you'd be amazed the number of women who say that they realised they were victims of domestic violence after some time. You didn't realise that what was going on in their home was domestic violence. This is what I'm saying. If you want to prevent, it's not enough to sort of look at people who are already having the cops called on them because of the level of violence in their homes. That's one aspect of prevention.
Another gaslighting tactic that women will use is when they twist your words. So you'll say something very basic, very direct, and they'll take that and make it mean something else and have a problem with it. So you'll say something like, hey man, listen, I just want to relax. I really don't feel like going out tonight. I don't feel like going out to eat tonight. A lot of women will take that and say, oh, well, if you don't want to hang out with me, just say that. If you don't want to be around me or you don't want to be around me and hang out with me, just say that. That's gaslighting. She heard exactly what you said, but she's being selfish in a sense to where she's trying to guilt trip you because you are drained or you don't feel like doing something. Women do shit like that. That's gaslighting. Or let's say you tell your woman, I don't really like the way that you're talking to me right now. I don't really like the way that you disrespect me. Right? And instead of dealing with and being accountable for that, they'll take what you say and catastrophize it and say, oh, well, you're just saying I'm just the meanest, rudest bitch to you ever. I'm just the rudest person in the world. I'm just no good, huh? That's gaslighting, bro. You see what I'm saying? Or you could say something like, hey, I feel like you're not listening to me. Oh, so now you're saying I don't love you and I don't care about you. They twist your words, you know, in order to escape accountability.
Nothing hurts a man more than harsh words from the woman he loves. Think about it. You want to know why the cardinal sin against a man is disrespect? Do you want to know why men flip out when you have a slick mouth? Do you know why they shut down when you say something out of pocket? It's because they don't expect it from a good woman. And I'm going to tell you why. The scripture says that Eve was created from Adam's rib. Okay, let's use the symbolism there. A rib is designed to protect the vital organs in a person's body, right? It's designed to protect the lungs. It's designed to protect the kidneys. It's designed to protect the liver, the stomach, the esophagus, the heart. And so there's an expectation that the rib should protect rather than hurt. Now, I will say that it's a man's responsibility to make sure that the rib isn't broken so many times to where it becomes rigid, and every time you get close to it, it pierces the organ it's supposed to protect. So a man has a responsibility to protect the rib, while the rib has a responsibility to protect the vulnerable areas in the man. Right? And so it's not until we both function in our proper capacities in the proper way, in a healthy manner, that we can assure healthy relationships. But we've got to do better. If you want a healthy relationship with a man, talk to him right. Men, if you want a healthy relationship with a woman, treat them right. Don't break them. They won't pierce you. That's what we have to do.
We can't even call the cops. I was the one who was...
Sadly, stories like this are all too common. So common for me that it actually happened back in 2013, 2014. My ex, the mother of my oldest child, she started getting violent and abusive to me when she fell pregnant. All of a sudden, the hormones changed and she just became this crazy, controlling, vindictive, emotionally abusive, physically abusive, just monster. 2014, when I broke up with her, I was going to move out. My daughter was about 9 months old, and I was packing up my stuff in my room. She came home from work, burst in the door, and started screaming at me whilst my 9-month-old was on the floor. She then started proceeding to push, punch, slap, scratch, kick, all the rest of the things, whilst my 9-month-old was on the floor behind me as I was trying to, stop her and calm her down. I then pick up my daughter whilst she was on the floor screaming, trying to calm her down, whilst also trying to fend off my ex, and she kept going. I then took her out to get her a bottle, settle her down because it was about nap time for her, and then all of a sudden there was a knife sitting on the bench. My ex, she lunged at the knife and I pushed her away. She then ran into the bedroom and proceeded to call the cops, said that I bashed her, and then locked herself into the bedroom. Cops come, I walk out the front. I was calm throughout this entire thing. Cops come, I walk out the front, I greet the police officers, I talk to them and say, hey, this is what's going on. I'm prepared to remain calm and talk rationally and all the rest of the things. I want to make sure that this is aired out because what happened is absolutely fucking bullshit. And then the cops took her side. I'm the one who got arrested. I'm the one who got taken to Southport Watch House. I'm the one who got put on a good behaviour bond, all because she started a fight with me and I defended myself to not get stabbed. I then had to go do a men's behaviour change program to prove to the eye of the courts and to the police and everything that I was safe for my daughter to be around. This story is super fucking common. I've coached a couple of guys through domestic violence scenarios, and it's always about cover your tracks, cover your ass, make sure you've got things in documents, make sure you've got evidence, make sure you've got everything, because the fucking system is out to get you as a man. And this isn't some victim piece. This is a almost survivor piece. This is a piece of power, because men need to know what they're up against when it comes to females and the law. You're going to get fucked over. If you are a straight white male in the Western world, I don't know what happens in America, but at least in Australia, you're going to be fucked by the long dick of the law. And they're going to take her side, not your side, even if you're the one to call the cops and to say, this is what's going on, my ex or my partner is abusing me, she's physical with me, or financially abusive, emotionally, whatever it is. They will take their side. So much so that one of my clients actually went to the police station to lodge a DV claim for his ex because she hit him and in front of their children and screamed at him and all the rest of the things, and they laughed at him. Be safe, man. You need to look after yourself. You need to protect yourself, and you need to make sure that you have screenshots, text messages, call logs, voice recordings, as many things as evidence to prove that you are safe, that you're not the one in the wrong, because it's the way that we got to do it.
Thankfully, my story has a happy ending, unlike so many others. I have full custody of my daughter. I have no idea where my ex is. I keep getting little updates here and there that she's incarcerated in and out of prison somewhere in Australia. And everything's all good for us. We're happy, we're healthy, and we don't have to worry about any of the traumas of the past. We've each gone through counseling. We've each gone through a bunch of other modalities to make sure that we can integrate and heal those parts of ourselves from our past, as I hope all of you guys out there do. This is one of the major reasons why I'm a men's coach. It's one of the major reasons why I help people and just give as authentically and as vulnerably as possible, because stories will help transform lives. My story of success might be the thing that helps another bloke or another woman go out and get the help that they need to leave an abusive relationship. You're not alone. Look after yourself.
I just made a post on my Instagram talking about the ways that I was emasculated in my marriage and how affected my mental health. So what I was able to learn about women who actually grow up in abusive homes and why they need to have control over everything, why they need to always be right, and how that affects men in today's world. We get mentally abused and emasculated in marriages every day, but we don't talk about it. Men don't like to talk about the fact of that they've been abused in their marriage, or certain things that their wife did made them feel like they were nothing, that they didn't matter. When a woman emasculates you, majority of the time, it's not your fault. She's doing it because of the conditioning she received as a child. You're paying for the sins of her upbringing. It's something that's very important for us to understand, because so many men who are in relationships where they're emasculated decide that the world would be a better place without them. It's important for us to understand as men that that's not our fault. So go check out that post on my Instagram so you can truly see everything that I'm talking about, and maybe it'll change your perspective on your marriage and divorce.
I never knew what other people might believe, because she'd said that she'd told people that I was abusing her. She used to shout things out of the window. She'd say that she'd told her friends that I was hurting her, and she'd sent pictures of bruises on her wrists and things to her friends. So at that point then, I thought, well, I'll gather my own evidence then to show that it's not her that's been abused, it's me that's been abused. I'm Richard Spencer, and I'm a survivor of female domestic abuse. The first time I met Cherie, it was on a night out in Leeds. We were in a nightclub, and I'd seen her across the dance floor, and the first thing that struck me, I guess, was that she was attractive. She wore nice clothes, and she looked really confident and happy. She was dancing away on the dance floor, and the bar had shut. We couldn't get any drinks anymore because it was quite late in the evening. But Cherie said that she knew someone could get us some drinks, and so we went over to the bar, and she knew some people working behind the bar, and she managed to get some drinks. And my friends all thought it was fantastic that I'd met this girl, and she could get drinks when the bar had shut. And then we agreed that we were going to go on a date. And we made plans then I think we went to the cinema, and that was the first date we went on, and things progressed from there really. I think things probably got more serious when I'd got my job at BT, and I needed to move away, so I was moving away quite far away down to Ipswich. So I'd got myself a flat down in Ipswich, and she came down to join me after a few months after I'd moved in, when her university degree finished. The first time that things got violent, as I remember, we'd been for a night out. We'd had a nice time with our friends, but on the way back, something had happened which Cherie wasn't happy about. And then when we got back to the flat where we were living at the time, she was quite angry, and I remember her throwing a vase onto the floor and the vase breaking, and then she kind of pushed me and slapped me, and just was like quite aggressive in a tone of voice and the way she was speaking to me. The next day she apologised and put it down to having too much to drink, and said that it wouldn't happen again, and told me how much she loved me. And that kind of pattern went on for quite a while. Incidents would happen, and then the next day she would apologise and say it'll never happen again. And she would seem genuine. She would write notes sometimes, or buy me cards and write nice little cards saying how sorry she was, and saying she loves me and it won't happen again. But inevitably, unfortunately, yeah, it did. The incidents didn't stop, and it did happen again.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you are a woman and you have a behavioral pattern of calling your dude out of his name, or provoking to the point of physical altercation, or initiating physical altercations that escalate into domestic violence, you are no longer considered a victim of domestic violence, but you are a perpetrator of domestic violence. In fact, you never hold yourself accountable. You are condescending. You like to utilize the fact that you are a woman to escape accountability. You can hurt a man physically just as well as he can hurt you. Regardless of gender, domestic violence isn't love.